This is beautiful. Whoa! Should I get in?
Get in.
Okay. Let me get in this second.
On the Tesla?
Do you want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. I said, I'm not Biden. I don't need notes.
Yeah. I can check it.
Thank you. Let me get into this sector. I'll watch Secret Service go crazy. Thank you.
I mean, if you actually drove it around, it would really be
that's
well.
beautiful. Wow.
I get into this other side.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
That was Donald Trump and Elon Musk getting into a Tesla on the White House lawn where they straight up held a Tesla sales pitch. Donald Trump was holding a price sheet the whole time with talking points about how amazing of a company Tesla is. That's that piece of paper he was holding that he handed to Elon in that clip. This is a close-up shot of the price sheet where it has Tesla pricing, full self-driving, Model X, $112,000. Cybertruck, $114,000, and it also has them labeled by color so Trump knows what he's looking at. And at the bottom it says Teslas can be purchased as low as $299 a month. According to caranddriver.com, a Cybertruck costs about $750 a month after a $7,500 down payment. So yeah, the economy is crashing and eggs are impossibly expensive, but you can buy a Cybertruck from Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Trump is then asked about the possibility of a recession and the current stock market crash that we are going through, and he gives a classic Trumpian answer.
We're going to have fun.
They're very happy.
Mr. President, your comments the other day not ruling out a potential recession seemed to rattle the stock markets. The Commerce Secretary said there wouldn't
going
be
to
one.
boom. Just so you know.
Just specifically on the recession.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
this
there will be a
country-
recession?
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. But as I said, I can do it the easy way or the hard way. The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
Mr. President, you asked.
And remember, Trump is always right. Right?
And what do you say to
If
Americans?
you look at what I've said over the last 10 years, Trump has been right all the time. This is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again.
A recession's not happening. Everything is fine. Trump was right about everything, like the hat says. And this is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again. He is a con man. He is a grifting con artist. And if this display is not obvious enough for you, then I don't know what to say. Even Peter Doocy of Fox News asks Trump and Elon about Social Security and if they can guarantee that there won't be disruptions in payments. And of course, Elon Musk answers that one.
And if you
President,
guys
will you
look at
talk
the
to
Social
President
Security
Putin about-
Administration and you guys are looking for fraud and waste and abuse, can you guarantee people who are concerned about an interruption to benefits that there will not be?
Yes, we're going to be very careful with any interruption to benefits. In fact, only by tackling the waste and fraud in entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, can we actually preserve those programs for the future. Because with unchecked fraud and waste, we won't be able to afford them. The president's very dedicated to solving the budget deficit, which if we don't solve the budget deficit, we're going to go bankrupt as a country. If we go bankrupt as a country, there's no Social Security, there's no Medicare, there's no nothing. And to sort of echo what the president was saying, what really matters is moving people from jobs that are relatively low productivity in government to high productivity in the private sector, increasing the true output of products and services. That's the real economy. That's what actually enables Americans to have a higher standard of living, and that's what's happening. And that's, I think, you'll see the truth of that in the months to come.
So Elon Musk says there won't be disruptions in payments, but all the experts are saying there's probably going to be disruptions in payments. Elon has spent the past week saying on Joe Rogan that Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world. And then he was on Larry Kudlow the other day saying that we need to eliminate it because it's the biggest source of fraud. They are basing all this like fraud and all these extremely old people collecting Social Security on their fundamental misunderstanding of how to read the actual data. Also had a complaint that like 8-year-olds are collecting Social Security, and yeah, man, it's because if that 8-year-old's parent dies, they start receiving Social Security benefits. So yeah, man, sometimes 8-year-olds receive Social Security. Then Elon mentions how the private sector is the real economy, and Trump had expanded on that. So I'll share that clip as well because it's bonkers.
Buy one of them. We'll pass. We're too old-fashioned.
Yeah.
So, Mr. President, when you look at the market selling off, that didn't concern you, and
Nope,
where do you see it
doesn't
going?
concern me. I think some people are going to make great deals by buying stocks and bonds and all the things they're buying. I think we're going to have an economy that's a real economy, not a fake economy. It was a fake economy. They were putting in all government jobs. You see what happened last month? We had more real jobs, and government jobs are way down. That's going to continue. Those are real jobs. Those are jobs that keep the country going. You can't have all government jobs. You have no income to pay the workers.
Yeah.
And a lot of those workers didn't show up to work. That was the other problem.
And President Trump, there's this.
So first of all, he says he's not worried about the market sell-offs because he knows that people are going to be making really good deals by buying and selling what they are. And I'm no economist, but that sounds suspicious to me. And then he talks about how government workers is a fake economy and how the private sector actually keeps the country going. And like, no, government jobs are literally what keep the country afloat. Like, that's why so much shit is collapsing because you're firing everybody. And one sector that he believes is part of this fake economy is the Department of Education. And while this whole grift was happening on the White House lawn with 2 used car salesmen, the Department of Education is set to lay off over 1,300 workers. Trump cuts education department in half after laying off 1,300 workers. An email sent to employees Tuesday told staff around the country not to come into work on Wednesday as roughly 1,300 employees face termination. The significant cuts come as Trump is considering an executive order attempting to dismantle the agency, and as all federal departments and agencies are preparing large-scale reductions in force ahead of a Thursday deadline ordered by Trump. Linda McMahon, the newly installed Education Secretary, called the firings a significant step towards restoring the greatness of the United States education system. How is mass firing 1,300 people from all over the country going to boost the economy? How is that good for the private sector or the public sector? They are dismantling public education, and their only plan for replacement is a voucher system so you can send your kids to private school, which private schools, by the way, can deny entry to any student that they want. And if the Department of Education is dismantled along with all the other government watchdogs that he's fired, none of those private schools are under any obligation to be accessible to disabled students, to special needs students. Special education will be gone because that is funded by and protected by the Department of Education. Anyway, also at this weird car salesman event, Donald Trump commented on the Canadian situation.
But Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low tax nation because of me, because I cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Rah." Well, when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation of Canada and the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. It's
on Greenland?
and then if you add Greenland, that's even. That's pretty good.
Canada pays higher taxes than us because they have universal health care and they have cheaper college and they have an actual public safety net, unlike the United States, where if you break your leg at work, you're pretty much screwed and you probably are going to end up homeless, especially if you're like me and you don't actually have health insurance. But he says Canada would be our cherished 51st state, and then he ends it by talking about Greenland and how adding Greenland would be amazing. Also, it's wild that he says the northern border is just so arbitrary. It looks like it was just drawn by a ruler, by some guy who just sat there and went, bah, or whatever it is he said. But the southern border is this like sacred patriotic thing that we must protect with the full force of the US military. Like, it makes no sense, man. Donald Trump was also asked on the used car lot that used to be the White House lawn about Mahmoud Khalil. He gave a expectedly authoritarian answer.
And President Trump, there's this protest leader from Columbia University that the administration is moving to deport. And he said that his arrest is going to be the first of many. How many?
I think we ought to get them all out of the country. They're troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country. We ought to get them the hell out. I think that guy, we ought to get him. I heard his statements too. They were plenty bad. And I think we ought to get him the hell out of the country. I watched him. I watched tapes specifically. I watched tapes. And you can have them, okay? You can have them. And you can have the rest of them. Let them go to school. Let them learn. Columbia used to be a good school. Now it's been overrun because of bad leadership. That's what happens. Happens to countries, and it happens to universities, and it happens to companies. And I don't want it to happen to a guy that did nothing wrong. He did everything right because he did a great company. But what he did by coming into government to help government from years of abuse, from decades of abuse, and you see that when you look at Social Security, where you have 200-year-old people.
Trump says in that clip, we've got to get them all out of here. What does he mean by that? I mean, I know what he means. Anybody that disagrees with him is who he's talking about. Even if he's not specifically talking about deporting everyone who disagrees with him, he's talking about targeting Palestinian students for the crime of speaking up against violence. And I know the Israel-Palestine conflict is a really touchy subject, but free speech and the First Amendment is a pretty big line in the sand here. They haven't really found any evidence of Mahmoud like actually committing a crime, but they have disappeared him anyway. Trump is celebrating that. Then he goes on to talk about how Colombia has bad leadership, and that can happen anywhere. That can happen at to a country. That can happen to a company. And he's like, I don't want that to happen to Elon. And then he goes on to whine about how Tesla is being targeted and that he will consider anybody that damages Tesla or any American company as a domestic terrorist.
Think Biden could get into that car? I don't know. No, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Mr. President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. You know, I've stuck up for the NFL. I've stuck up for a lot of American companies and other companies, but American companies. I did a very big favor for the NFL. I do favors for all. When you heard an American company, especially a company like this, supplies so many jobs that others are unable to do, when you do that, those people are going to go through a big problem when we catch them. And we have you got a lot of cameras up. We already know who some of them are. We're going to catch them. And they're bad guys. They're the same guys that screw around with our schools and universities, the same garbage. And no, we're going to catch them. And let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
Besides the obvious like authoritarian threats in that clip, I'm very curious to know what favor he did for the NFL. Like, what is he talking about? This whole display was so embarrassing and pathetic for the United States. Like, he is turning the White House into a grifter's haven. At one point when him and Elon are sitting in that little red car, Elon tells him it's just like a golf cart that goes faster. Trump's like, I'm not allowed to drive. I'm not allowed to drive. And so Elon's like, it's like a golf cart. At another point, Trump was asked, do you think this is going to help Tesla's stock go up? And he goes, I hope so. Like, the entire economy is collapsing and Trump's just like, no, we've got to uplift Tesla because Elon Musk is my best friend, I guess. Like I said, it is embarrassing on the world stage right now. Like, what a pathetic display. Could you imagine if Biden did this, if he was selling Hunter Biden's artwork on the freaking front lawn of the White House, or if he had George Soros there selling whatever it is George Soros does? Media would lose their minds. But here they are, just going along with this, acting like it's totally normal. At the end of this event, they asked Trump about vanity plates and how he's going to pay for the car. And he gives a pretty wild answer, and I'm going to end on that clip.
I love Tesla.
Which one did
Which
you
one
buy?
did you buy? Wait, Mr. President.
Which one did you
Mr.
buy?
President, which car are you going to buy?
The one I like is that one.
And how does this work?
And I want that same color.
Are you going to put down a credit card? Elon, would you take a personal
I'm gonna
check
give
from
a
the
check.
president?
I do it the old I give checks.
Sure.
I like checks. You know?
I think his credit's good.
Do you still have access?
You know, I like a check better than this modern system of all of a sudden there's money in your account, nobody knows. I like signing a check. You sort of, but we're gonna pay, and I don't want a discount. He would give me a discount, but if I do a discount, they're gonna say, "Oh, he got benefits." I don't want any discount.
What about a vanity plate?
Yeah, let's see. Truth.
All right, there it is.
T-R-U-T-H,
Can he download his
truth.
playlist?
You
How's that?
that one got you by surprise.
Playlist gets downloaded as well. You can thump your music driving
You
around.
can do it. I just looked at that.
amazing.
I looked at that dashboard. You can do anything.
Mr. President, do you think you buying a Tesla will boost Tesla sales and boost
Well, I
their
hope
stock?
it does. Look.
Was that your
I
goal
care
by doing
about
this?
one thing. When somebody's a great patriot, they shouldn't be hurt. He's a great patriot. He didn't know me from Adam until we met a little bit when I was in my first term, but he came out, he endorsed me very strongly, and I admired that, I respected that, and I respected him for years. I respected him. And when there was a chance to help our government, you know, you're not going to use an average person. Some people would say, well, let's use somebody that failed in business for his whole life. You know, this guy has been amazing. And the kind of thinking is from a different age. It's really from a different age. When we said, let's cut 2%, he said, let's cut 60%. And he turned out to be right. And a lot of people are just not here. They don't work for us. I mean, they're getting checks and they don't work. And you know, Peter, look, we have so many different stats and so many different figures. And it's so embarrassing to us as a country. No, we're going to have a streamlined country with good people. And one of the reasons, and I called for it wasn't a cabinet meeting, it was just a meeting of some cabinet members and Elon. The one thing, and I think he agrees with me 100%, it's one thing to cut, but we want to cut the wrong people, meaning we want to cut people that aren't doing the job. We want to keep the right people.
Absolutely.
And I said, I don't want to just say we're going to cut 50%. I want to cut the people that aren't doing the job, the people that aren't there, the people that are scamming the system. And he agrees with that 100%.
And are you sure you
Well, there you have it. Trump doesn't like using banks because he doesn't understand how they work. He only uses checks. He doesn't expect a discount from Elon Musk because the American people would get mad about it. Elon Musk is a true patriot because he endorsed Donald Trump, and true patriots should be protected. And he genuinely hopes that this event boosts Tesla stock. Our media seems more than happy to laugh along and joke with him and ask about his freaking vanity plates. Well, that's our grifter in chief. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more, and let's hear one more time what Donald Trump has to say about all of this.
Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.